Hello, everybody. Welcome back here to the channel. We are here with the first mock draft for the 2025 NFL draft cycle. Here, this draft's coming out in the end of September. Draft content will continue to kind of ramp up as we get closer and closer to the winter and closer to the draft. But this is the first one for the 2025 draft. I am excited for this. You guys know I love the draft. I hope to be a future NFL scout. So we're ready to get right into this. If you guys have any questions about the draft order, I'm pretty sure this is just PFF's predicted draft order based off of current teams' records as well as their projections for the rest of the season. I have no control over the draft order. It's just what we're doing. So we are going to get started. We're going to get right into this here with the Carolina Panthers, who have benched Bryce Young, the number one overall pick from 2 seasons ago. What do you do, right? They say they're going to turn things over to Bryce Young later in the season, give him another shot. I think that's going to be his last opportunity. And if he doesn't impress, he is not the quarterback going forward. And I think they look towards the NFL draft. And if you're back at number one, clearly your other quarterback didn't work. And I know it's not all on Bryce Young. They need so much help. But Andy Dalton just went in there, took the starting job, and impressed. So is it the rest of the team or is it Bryce Young? I don't know. Either way, we're going to give him a quarterback. And I think the first quarterback off the board is more than likely going to be Carson Beck. He's NFL ready. He's poised. He makes NFL's throws. He's got a good arm. He's an okay athlete. Good size at the quarterback position. I think he's more than likely the first quarterback off the board. Then we get to the New England Patriots. They're going to be running things with Bryce, or not with Bryce Young, with Drake May, who they took just this past year's NFL draft. He's going to be their future. What do you need for Drake May? Well, I think you need a few things. I think you need a running back. Well, you're not going to take that at pick 2 in the draft. I think you need a wide receiver. You could look at that. I think you could use probably some secondary help. And I think you could maybe use some offensive line. So what you kind of look and see, you see Luther Burden, you see Tedaroya McMillan, you see Travis Hunter. Maybe that can help you on both sides. You see Michael Williams for some edge, if you want that. You see Will Campbell for a tackle. You see a lot of guys you like. I think more than likely they tried to get some help in the secondary. And that leaves me with Will Johnson or Travis Hunter. Now, this is a tough pick because is Travis Hunter going to play both sides of the ball in the NFL? I don't know. I don't think so. But is there a team that's going to try to put him there? I think there definitely is. What team would do that? Would it be Sharon Moore and the Patriots? If Belichick was there, definitely not. But would Sharon Moore do it? No, it's not Sharon Moore. It's Gerard Mayo. Why I'm thinking of Michigan with Will Johnson here. Would it be Gerard Mayo and the Patriots? I think it would be. And I think we're going to go Travis Hunter at number 2 to the Patriots. Electric player, probably the best player in college football. Plays both sides of the ball really well. I think he profiles better as an NFL corner than a wide receiver. But I think he can play both. I think he can be a gadget on offense and an every down corner one. I think the Patriots can use him like that. Then we get to the Broncos. Here is Bo Nix their future. Well, they just took him last year, so they're probably going to stick with him for at least another few seasons. Where do you go? You probably get some help on. I think you probably either look at wide receiver or defense here. Probably the defensive line, your front seven. So where does that leave you looking? Probably Tedaroya McMillan, Luther Burden, Mason Graham. And I think for me, I'm going to give him a wide receiver here at pick number 3. And I think I'm going to go with Luther Burden. I think it's kind of a toss-up between McMillan and Burden, who gets drafted first. Out of those two, the first wide receiver off the board, but I'm going to go Burden to the Broncos, get Bo Nix in a lethal weapon to run after the catch guy. And then we get to the Tennessee Titans. I don't think Will Levis is the guy. This is easy for me. We're going quarterback, scrolling, and going Miami. Cameron Ward, my personal QB1 in the draft. He's been my QB1. He would have been my QB1 in last year's draft. I mean, I've been on this guy. I have been on the Cam Ward hype train since he transferred from Incarnate Word to Washington State. If you don't believe me, I have receipts. I've seen the potential in this kid long before he was heralded as a draft prospect. He is going to be a very, very good player. I think the Titans need a quarterback. I don't think Will Levis is their guy. Get Cameron Ward. He can be electric. I think he can turn your franchise around. Then we get to the New York Giants, who I think you're also going to need a quarterback. And if you're like, wow, 3 quarterbacks in the top 5, guys, quarterbacks get taken high. It happens. Every season, quarterbacks get taken high because it's the most valuable position Giants at number three. I think you're going to see a rise from Garrett Nussmeier. I think you're going to see a rise from Miller Moss. I think you're going to see a fall for Shedeur. I think this one here for the New York Giants is going to be Quinn Ewers from Texas. Right now, it's Arch Manning because Quinn got hurt, but I still think Quinn Ewers is one of the best quarterbacks in the country. And I think that he will be a good fit over there in New York. Now you get Washington, right? This one's an easy one for him. You got Jaden Daniels who's looking really good. How do you protect Jaden Daniels? You give him his left tackle from college at LSU, Will Campbell. I think he's the first offensive lineman off the board with ease. And I think it makes sense to go to Washington where you can project or you can protect your future with Jaden Daniels. And those two work so well together at LSU. Why not pair them back up? Now you've got the Arizona Cardinals. This one's also easy for me. I think you're going to go Will Johnson. I think they badly need secondary help. And if Will Johnson does manage to make it to pick number seven, that's an easy one. I think Will Johnson goes higher than this. The issue is, I mean, you're not going to replace him with any of the quarterbacks. I don't think the Broncos go corner. Maybe the Commanders do, but I think you're going to prioritize protecting your future quarterback. So if he falls to seven, I think that's an easy pick. The Cardinals, and I think that the Vikings are very mad because I think they would have taken Will Johnson there. I think they were hoping he would be there. So where do you look now? The edge, maybe you go look at Benjamin Morrison. I think that is what I'm going to do. I think I'm going to go Benjamin Morrison. He's been solid so far this season for Notre Dame. He's a good, good size for the NFL. I haven't actually gotten to his tape yet, but I've heard he's very good in zone coverage, very instinctual. So that's what you like to see. Then we get the Raiders. We're gonna go right back to quarterback. And I think the Raiders are the type, and I think they would go Shedeur here in the top 10, number nine. I don't think Minshew's your guy. I don't think Aiden O'Connell's your guy. This is a very talented quarterback class, in my opinion. I think there's going to be a lot of quarterbacks taken. We saw a lot of them last year. We saw, what is it, Caleb, Drake May, Jaden Daniels, JJ McCarthy, and Bo Nix. That's five all in the first round. So far, we've got one, two, three, and four. I think you're going to see either five or six this year again. I mean, it's just teams need quarterbacks, man. The Seahawks, they go best player available. You take Mason Graham at this spot, an interior presence, a force over there for the Michigan Wolverines. Great pass rush, great at stopping the run, good size. I think he's going to be very, very productive there for the Seattle Seahawks. And then New Orleans Saints. Where do you look here? I think you probably look, he took Talius Fuaga last year to try to beef up that offensive line. I think you look on the edge here, and I think if you can get an edge player as talented as Mykel Williams here at pick 11, I think you do it. Mykel Williams probably projected to be top 10 in this draft. It just didn't shake up the way all mock drafts are different. This is literally the first one for the cycle, so things will change, as we get closer. But in this one, he goes to pick 11 to the New Orleans Saints, and then we get to the Buccaneers, and I think we're going right back probably to the secondary, and I think we're going to go look at corner. I really, really like Siobhan Revel. I'm upset that he tore his ACL. He's going to be out for the season. But when you're scrolling through these corners, is there anyone really worthy of going at pick 12? I don't know. So where are you going to look? Where are you going to look? What position group do you want to beef up? Maybe you go look at the edge. A lot of teams, when they don't really know what they're going to do, are just going to go take edge. It's a very important position. And I think you go with an athletic freak here. Go with James Pierce Jr. I haven't gotten to his tape yet either, but I've heard he plays a little bit lighter than he should. But obviously the athleticism is there. It's clear the size is there. If you can develop him, mold him into the edge rusher that you envision that he can be, then that can be a good pick. Then we reach the Indianapolis Colts, and I think the Colts just need a playmaker on defense. And for me, that's Malachi Starks. He can play all over the field. He's just a playmaker. He makes plays. He's a hard hitter, good ball skills, instinctual, knows the position well. He's very, very well developed already. I think he can come into the NFL and dominate right away. I think that he adds a lot to that defense. The Pittsburgh Steelers. This one's tough for me because they're winning games with Justin Fields, but is he their future? I don't believe so. No. But I don't think they go back to quarterback. I mean, maybe they take like Jalen Milroe, Garrett Nussmeier, but not for me. Not in this one. I think I'm looking on the offensive line, and I think I'm going back to LSU, and I'm going with Emory Jones Jr. Both LSU tackles are very, very, very in the conversation to be the top two off the board. Emory Jones is a very, very solid player. He's been solid at LSU. He's locked down that right side for the Tigers, and I think the Steelers still need tackle help. I mean, I think Emory Jones can flex to either side. He played left in high school, plays right at LSU. He can flex on either side and help out. And then we get to the Rams. This one is interesting. I think that they need a few things. I think that they could look at the tackle position. I think they could look at the secondary. I think they could really go on D line as well. And that's probably where I'm going to go. And I'm probably going to go back to the edge position. And I'm going to go Abdul Carter, another athletic freak, really, really fast. He's improved this season so far on tape. He's looked better, a lot smoother, a lot quicker in his pass rush, a lot more decisive with his pass rush. And I think that's a good sign. Then we get to the Jacksonville Jaguars. This one, what do you want to do for the Jaguars? He took wide receiver last year and Brian Thomas Jr. You're going to need to protect. You need to protect Trevor Lawrence. He's not looked good, but you need to protect him either way. Where are you going to do, or where are you going to go? What are you going to do? I'm going to go with, I can't pronounce his name. Bear with me. Jonah Savayanea. I don't know. That's probably wrong. I'll learn the names when we get closer to the NFL draft. But tackle out of Arizona. I've heard really good things about him from my friends who are, actual scouts. So I'm going to trust their word. They're projecting him to go top 15. He falls just out of the top 15 range for me at 16. Now the Cleveland Browns. This one's interesting for me. I am a Browns fan. We need a lot. We desperately need offensive line. However, I think the Deshaun Watson experiment is over. I do. What can you do? Take a quarterback. Now, who do you go with is the question. There's a lot of guys in this class that I like. You could go for developmental guys in Drew Aller or, Jackson Dart, who's played well. You can go for someone who's ready right away, like Garrett Nussmeier or Miller Moss or the athlete in Jalen Milrow. I think Stefanski and the Browns. I'm between two players here. I'm between Garrett Nussmeier, who has looked really good for the LSU Tigers, or Drew Aller. Bring Drew Aller back to Cleveland. Went to high school at Medina, close to Cleveland. I think you can easily sit him for 1 year to learn and then turn the franchise over to Drew Aller and have him be the future quarterback. A lot of people don't like him because he played bad last year, but he's got all the tools. He's got all the everything you want. He's putting it together finally this year. And I think the Browns are one of those surprise teams this year is going to take a quarterback. I just do. Now we make it to the Chicago Bears. I'm instantly going to the offensive line. I'm going to take Blake Miller. He's someone for Clemson who I think can shift inside to guard or stick out at tackle. They just need offensive line help and versatility, and Miller offers that. Going to the Chargers. This one's easy for me. You needed wide receiver last year. You didn't take one. You look at wide receiver this year. Teteroy McMillan's still on the board. And again, I don't expect McMillan to be there until pick 19. But the way the board fell, I just didn't I didn't see anyone here at the top that was going to take wide receiver over any other position. I mean, maybe the Browns, maybe the Steelers, maybe even the maybe even like the Cardinals if you just want a dynamic duo between Marvin Harrison and Teteroy McMillan. But in this mock draft, he fell. It just happens. Then we get to the Houston Texans. This one, I'm going to go with Kenneth Grant. You got to lock down the middle of that defense. Their defense hasn't looked incredibly great this year. Their offense hasn't looked good either, but I think you can fix that because you have talented players like CJ Stroud, Nico Collins, Tank Dell, Stephon Diggs. Like you can fix that. However, I think you just need to anchor the defensive line. When in doubt, honestly, anchor your front seven because that wins football games, the trenches. Now we've got the New York Jets. You could also go with developmental quarterback, but I think they probably wait. And I do think they want to get another weapon for Aaron Rodgers, and you're going to go look at these wide receivers, and you're going to be like, who are you going to go with? I think Kyron Lacy is very good. I think Torrey Horton's very good. I think Emeka Buka is a good slot player. Isaiah Bond, fast. I'm going to go with Alec Iomanner. I'm probably pronouncing that thing. Might be, I don't know how to pronounce it. I'm just going to call him Alec from Stanford. He's played really good football. The catch radius is insane. The highlights are crazy. He has some concentration drops, which is a concern, but you put him on the other side of Garrett Wilson, and I think that could be a really, really good target for Aaron Rodgers. I don't expect Rodgers to retire next year or after this season, so I still think you can hold off on your quarterback for now. Then we get the Atlanta Falcons. And I think this is an easy edge player for me. They haven't really gone edge in recent drafts. Think they need to boost it up. We're gonna go with Nick Gordon, the Purdue transfer over to Texas A&M. You just need pressure on the quarterback, and Gordon brings that. He's a very, very solid player. The Miami Dolphins is I'm gonna assume that Tua Tagovailoa is gonna come back, right? I'm going to assume that. And that's the case, you need to protect him. Go with Kelvin Banks Jr., a solid tackle from Texas. He's an athletic freak. I think Mike McDaniel's going to be able to develop him very well to protect Tua. Then we get to the Green Bay Packers. For this, I'm probably going back to look at the secondary. This is a good safety class, but I don't think you're going to go safety. I think you're going to go corner. I think just due to the fact that Siobhan Revel tore the ACL, he's either going to go back to school or he's not going to be taken this high. So I'm going to go with Denzel Burke from Ohio State. Put him on the other side of Jair Alexander, and I think you have just a lockdown duo at corner. And you know, they need secondary help. Alexander's very great, but who's on the other side? Put Denzel Burke there. Ooh, this is a fun one. This is a fun one. This is a very fun one. The Dallas Cowboys take running back. They go Ashton Jeanty here. Ashton Jeanty's the best running back prospect we've seen in a very long time, in my opinion, probably since Saquon Barkley. He is so electric. He's so good at football. The contact balance is off the charts. If the Cowboys get him at 25, that offense will be lethal. Lethal, lethal, lethal. The Philadelphia Eagles. Where do you go for this one? The Eagles always seem to have a few position groups that they beef up. I don't think they're going to stray away from that. And because of that, I'm going to go on the edge. And I think I'm going to go with Shamar Stewart. He's one of those guys who was in the Texas A&M, the legendary five-star class that Jimbo Fisher got. But he's a solid player. He's a good player. I think the Eagles, they have their trends. They take the guys that they take positions that they take. They're going to go back to the trenches. When in doubt, go with edge. The Lions. The Lions, the Lions, the Lions. I'm going to go against a need here and just go BPA because I think the Lions are in a position where they can do that. And Deone Walker is still on the board. I mean, this dude is huge. He's a massive. He's a run stopper guy. It doesn't hurt to have one of those guys on your defensive line. I like what they have over there with Alim McNeill, but Deone Walker can really, really beef up that D line. And I think you go BPA for a team that has division winning expectations, maybe NFC championship expectations. The Cincinnati Bengals need a lot. And honestly, I don't know how they're projected down here at 28. They're 0-3 and not looking good. What do they need? I don't think T. Higgins is going to be around, so you maybe look at wide receiver. Your defensive line is awful, so you maybe look at defensive line, but Deone Walker just went ahead of you. You're probably crying. You need a running back badly, but you need a lot of other things. Are you going to take a running back this high, You desperately need a running back, but are you going to use your first round pick on a guy like Ollie Gordon, Amari Hampton? I don't know if you are. Terron Stewart, I really, really like. I think he'll be a second round pick. I don't think you are. So you're looking at wide receiver, another weapon for Joe Burrow, or that D line. Let's go take a look at the D line. Dontay Corleone, you keep him in the city. He's going to beef up stopping the run, and he adds a little bit of pass rush presence. I think that's an option for you. Other than that, I'm not seeing anything else. At the edge position, you just need pressure. Sam Hubbard isn't doing it. I like Landon Jackson. I like JT Tuimoloau. My bad. I don't like Patrick Payton. The Bengals are in such a tough spot. I'm going to go with the hometown kid. You really need interior defensive line. Go with Dontay Corleone. He had some issues with blood clots over the offseason, but he's healthy. He's back playing good football. He's going to stop the run. He's going to be a beast up there. A little bit undersized, but we've seen undersized defensive tackles excel before. And I think Corleone, staying in the city, he's already a fan favorite for the Bearcats. Why not be a fan favorite for the Bengals? Then we get the Buffalo Bills. Easy choice for me. Go wide receiver. You have Keon Coleman on the outside. You have Khalil Shakir in the slot, who you like. You need another outside wide receiver. And let's go. I'm just taking a look here for the sake of taking a look because I think there's guys here who are going to rise up. But let's go with the top guy, Isaiah Bond on the outside with Coleman, Bond, Shakir, and Dalton Kincaid and James Cook for the future. You're looking really good. You're feeling good about that offense, in my opinion. The Baltimore Ravens. What do the Ravens do? What do the Ravens need? In my opinion, not much. I think they're a pretty solid and complete football team. I don't think you're going to be able to rely on Derrick Henry long term, and obviously they want to keep that rushing game at the top level. And I've gotten people mad at me for giving teams fun picks before, but I want to give the Ravens a fun pick, and I want to give them a running back. I'm going to go Marion Hampton. Him and Gene T are kind of your running back 1 and 2 right now. I would look out for. I haven't seen him on here. Is he not on here? Caleb Johnson from Iowa has been incredible this year. I would look out for him. But and Terrion Stewart. Caleb Johnson and Terrion Stewart are going to be two running back rises. This is a good running back class. A lot of talent. I like Jaden Ott a lot too. Kyle Monaghan is good as well. But go for a fun pick. Keep that rushing game at top tier of the league with Amari and Hampton. Then we get to the San Francisco 49ers. This one's easy for me. I think they can go on the offensive line. You're looking at the interior. It's kind of a rough interior class. You're going to go look at the tackles. And I think you're going to go with I believe it is Ariante Essery. I'm really bad with names. Like I said, I'll learn them closer to the draft. But go the tackle from Minnesota, beef up that offensive line again. You cannot go wrong with taking offensive linemen. BPA. Now the Kansas City Chiefs, they can really go BPA. And I don't think you have a ton longer in Travis Kelce. Well, lucky for them. Who's there on the board? Colson Loveland, a very, very, very solid player for the Michigan Wolverines. We'll kind of click off this ad here. Go look at our draft results. You saw quarterbacks go, I believe 5 quarterbacks going in the first round. A lot of edge, few wide receivers, a couple running backs. Let me know down in the comments if you guys liked who your team picked, if you guys didn't like who your team picked, who you want your team to pick, or if there's any players that you're keeping an eye on as we get farther into the draft cycle. But this is going to be it for me. You guys are going to want to subscribe. Turn on those post notifications so you don't miss an episode, and I'll see you all in the next video.